24 hours from the biggest game of the entire season for the Premier League. Are Arsenal going to finally get a win at the Etihad and, really just take the world by storm and say, hey, this is our title. This is our year. Or will Manchester City seize on the momentum that they've had since the Carabao Cup? As I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, Manchester City, they have been smelling blood in the water. They got a couple of nicks on Arsenal and they started to bleed. And the blood has slowly been getting thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker over the last couple of weeks. And they can just smell that there is a wounded animal. But will that wounded animal get to the finish line? We will have to see. We're going to be breaking it down today in this video. A lot to talk about. As I said, this game is massive. For both teams. Manchester City, a team that have been inconsistent at times this year, but have really been getting in some great form again since the Carabao Cup. They have now been gaining momentum. I think in a way, losing in the Champions League has kind of helped them. They've been able to rest a little bit more. Like even this week alone, they've had a week of rest from their last game. So I would say that is an advantage for Manchester City. And then we look at Arsenal, a team that's been the best team in the Premier League all year, but has really been struggling, specifically with their attack the last couple weeks. Pretty much it started with the Carabao Cup, but the attack woes, they've been even starting earlier. But now Arsenal have been getting seemed to be, figured out a little bit really since the Manchester City game in the Carabao Cup. The script has been out on Arsenal. If you press them a little bit, things become a very difficult time. We saw this against Southampton. We saw this with Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. And we saw this as of last week with Bournemouth. When there's pressure on this Arsenal side and they are forced to attack and actually have to, make something happen within the game without relying on set pieces, it's a very difficult time. Plus the injuries as well for Arsenal. It's just a lot going against their way. So both these teams are really in completely different places, but they're fighting for the same thing, and that's what I think makes this game so interesting. Now, no disrespect to Manchester City. All credit to them for even being in this position to be in this game. But in my opinion, this game is about Arsenal. The narrative around this game is about Arsenal. And it's all coming back to the last couple years, where really all of this started, where Arsenal led in 2022 in the 2023 campaign just to bottle it, when they also had to go to the Etihad to get a massive result and lost 4-1. Since then, I think Arteta has been on a completely different place with where he wants to play football and how he wants to play it. He's transitioned from a high-flowing attacking team to more of a defensive side over the last couple years. We look back to the 2023-2024 campaign where Arsenal again were going neck and neck with Manchester City. They almost had perfect form, but a draw against Manchester City at the Etihad ended up biting them because they ended up losing to Aston Villa at home, and Manchester City beat them by, I think, 2 points if I remember correctly. It went down to the last day, but Manchester City got them there. And then last year was just a weird year. Manchester City have a down year, but Arsenal can't capitalize on their woes because they still don't have enough. Liverpool goes on a crazy run, and now we are here. We're again, Arsenal have been in a great position all year, but they're starting to falter. Manchester City are starting to hit a stride at the end of the season. We've all seen also what Arsenal's record is under Arteta in April. It is completely terrible. It's terrible. I think they have a 41% win percentage over the last 4 or 5 years, something like that. And of course, we all know what Pep does around this time. Pep lives for these moments. So again, there's just so much going into this game. And yeah, let's actually get into it now. So first is, will Arsenal go to actually win this game at the Etihad? Will they go to try to win it? And that's the main thing for me, because on one end, Arsenal don't need to win this game. They don't need to win this game. They could take a draw, and they would still be in a good position. If you get a draw, you're still leading ahead of Manchester City. So a loss would be terrible. A loss would be the worst possible outcome for Arsenal, but they don't need to win. But the other way I look at this is, if you get a win, you tell, again, the world, and you tell the rest of England and the rest of the league that we are winning this damn title. And again, you haven't won at the Etihad, I think, since 2014, 2015, around that time. And getting a win at the Etihad, I think, would do such a psychological boost for this Arsenal side. They finally could stare their demon in the face and could finally get over the hump. But again, we'll have to see. Will they do that? I'm not sure. But again, that's the main question I keep having, because as much as I'm going to be like, oh, I want Arsenal to win, if tomorrow comes and Arsenal end up getting a draw, I'm not going to be as mad about it, because at the end of the day, it's not a loss. You just can't lose. If Arsenal lose, we'll have a whole nother discussion. But if Arsenal even get a draw, you still have to take it. Do I want them to? No, I want them to go play for the win. But I just don't know if that's going to happen. And again, we have seen with Mikel Arteta's track record, he does not mind playing for a draw in these situations. So we just have to see how it goes. But when you look at Manchester City, they need to win this game. They can't draw this game. They can't lose this game. So that's why I think adds a little bit of extra pressure. Like when you look back to this fixture that was, I think, back in, September, Manchester City, they didn't play to win the game. They just were parking the bus and were playing counter-attacking football, which actually ended up working. They almost actually got a 1-0 win, but Martinelli makes some magic in the last couple minutes. So, again, we'll have to see how this sets up, but it's just very curious to see how Mikel Arteta is going to play this because I'm sure he's tired of hearing about all the dialogue as well. Really, over the last couple years now, that he's a super rigid manager that doesn't know how to allow his players to have freedom, which there's definitely some truth to that. I wonder, will he falter in that, or will he stick to his ways and try to get at least 1 point? Now, for Arsenal to get this game over the line, if they want to win or at least get a draw, these forwards have to stay in really just great positions, great plays, and just make something happen. But my biggest concern is Bukayo Saka I don't even think he traveled with the team, so he's not playing. Madueke, I think, is going to play, but that's like he got banged up his knee, I think, against Sporting on Wednesday. So he might not be 100%, but he's probably going to still play. Martinelli and Trossard have been terrible in the league, so there's really nothing to say about them. Victor Gyökeres, he's kind of been nullified by City because we saw when City forced Arsenal to go long in the Carabao Cup, Gyökeres just wasn't able to get that second touch, and it just kind of faltered. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. And then kind of transitioning a little bit into the other forwards, will Kai Havertz play? Now, if Kai Havertz is going to play, I mean as in will he start? I should have said will he start. And when I say will he start at the 9 or will he start in the midfield? I'm curious to see if he starts at the 9 because even though I do think Victor Gyökeres is by far a better finisher, Kai Havertz at the 9 is better when it comes to the playmaking standpoint. So I wonder if Arteta's maybe going to try to change it up there because, again, Gyökeres didn't really work in the Carabao Cup. But then if Mikel Arteta plays Kai Havertz in the midfield, the game is going to be lost. Arsenal will lose. Arsenal will lose. Arsenal will lose. I've seen it too many times in big games where he tries to play Kai Havertz in the midfield. It never works in a big situation. Yes, I'm sure there are some moments here and there where it has worked, but it just isn't a very effective thing in my opinion. It just doesn't work. It's just not there, and I think if he does that, it's a death sentence for Arsenal. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. And then I guess the last forwards that I really want to check on, they're not technically forwards, but they're more attacking. Sounds like Odegaard's going to try to play. As much as I think Odegaard's been poor this year and really last year, you still need his creativity. And will Eze make something happen? I mean, we've seen Eze kind of create something out of nothing in some of these games. He's had some very, very great goals. I think about the one against Crystal Palace this year. I think about the one against Leverkusen. He's had some bangers. Will he have something like that against Manchester City? And will he be able to create for the Arsenal forwards moving forward? That is what I really want to see out of these guys because one of these guys is going to have to step up. I don't know who it's going to be, but someone's going to have to step up because Arsenal needs something. They need a result, and one of these guys just needs to get they need to get it over the line because Arsenal, again, have been lacking the attack at times this year, and they're really lacking it now. So, again, one of these guys is going to have to step up, especially with some of the key injuries that we have. How will the midfield look, though? And, again, I know I already talked about Kai Havertz, but this is more about Declan Rice and Zubimendi. Declan Rice, a warrior, was playing sick against Sporting. Honestly, wasn't the greatest, but Zubimendi did bounce back against Sporting, which was great to see. But we saw just a week ago he had his arguably weakest performance against Bournemouth, and he looked really bad in that. And we saw that again in the Carabao Cup. Manchester City, and credit to them with their press, they were pressing so much that it really kind of nullified Declan Rice and Zubimendi's ability to get the ball and try to travel because that's just not necessarily their strength. So it forced Arsenal to go long. Will that be the case again? I'm curious to see because both of these guys are going to have to step up. I mean, again, you're going against Rodri, you're going against Bernardo Silva. These are guys, again, that are a little bit older, but they're such technically gifted players and they have the football IQ. Will they overcome you just from a smart standpoint? And really, how is that going to go? Because, again, if Arsenal get, if the midfield looks like it did against the Carabao Cup or in the Carabao Cup, I just don't see this being good for Arsenal. It's just not going to work. So these two are really going to have to step up. I just am a little worried because they're both super fatigued. Again, Mikel Arteta does not play Norgard ever, so that's not something we're going to see. It doesn't look like MLS is ever going to play in the midfield at this point. So I'm kind of running out of things to really, I guess, hope for with Arsenal, but we just got to hope that, Arteta does something with this, because these guys are going to have to play better than they did just about a month ago against Manchester City. Will set pieces actually play a factor in this game? Set pieces for Arsenal have been the story of the season. I mean, even really dating back to the 2024 campaign, they've been a big part of it as well. But they really did define Arsenal's first half, even really, I would say, 2/3 of the season. But the set pieces have really ran out. Arsenal have not been effective from a set piece. And again, in a game like this where you just need to get over the line, where you just need to score, it doesn't matter how you score. It doesn't matter if it's pretty or not. You need your set pieces to be effective, and they just haven't been. I don't even think Declan Rice has been taking his corner kicks as well. You're obviously missing corner kicks from Bukayo Saka. That's one of his strengths, and we just haven't seen a lot of guys step up recently with their, with the set pieces. We haven't seen them from Gabriel, Saliba, really any of them. So I would love to see a set piece this weekend against Manchester City, because I think that could be the deciding factor, and in my opinion, that is what gives Arsenal a little bit of an edge. It's just that ability to score, not even from open play, but without that, again, this is where the lack of goals from the attacking front starts to really hurt you. So very curious to see, will a set piece be scored by Arsenal this weekend? Now into Manchester City. I know this video has really just been about Arsenal. I am an Arsenal fan, so that's just mainly how I see it. I also just think personally this game has been more about Arsenal. Like, the storyline is there for Arsenal. But let's just talk a little bit about Manchester City. Will Manchester City's form continue? They've been in great form. Will it continue? We'll have to see. I definitely don't think they're going to be feeling the pressure in this game. Yes, it's a massive game, but you're at home. You're going to have the home side backing you. You also just beat Arsenal pretty much in the same type of environment. I mean, this is pretty much a cup final, and you just beat them in a cup final just about a month ago. So I'm curious to see how this is going to look for City. But my main things I want to see with City, if you're trying to break this down from an objective standpoint, is number one, will City again be able to recreate that press? Even though it was against Kepa, will they be able to recreate that press against David Raya and create some problems there? We've seen it get a little iffy back there with Gabriel and him at times. So, I think that could be effective. Will City be able to score? I think they'll be able to score at least one goal. I think they'll be able to get one, but will they consistently be able to do that? Again, I don't know, but we've been able to see them take advantage of mistakes in the past from Arsenal, so we'll have to see. And really, will they be able to stay defensively sound? Now, any team, in my opinion, at this point can stay defensively sound against Arsenal, because Arsenal just have no threat from open play. But at the same time, I just wonder, we've seen every single time all year when people have been like, oh, Manchester City are back, they're back. No, they're not fully back, because they have defensive lapses against weak teams. I mean, I think about the result against West Ham. That was not a great result. I think about really a couple. I mean, even the Manchester United game. I mean, that was a little bit ago, but there have been multiple games where Manchester City have been exploited defensively. They have had defensive lapses. It's not like this is, again, one of the best Pep sides ever. This team can be exploited, and I just wonder if there will be a crack here or there that Arsenal can exploit. Because, again, that's been Manchester City's biggest thing this entire season, is the lack of consistency. They've been consistent through periods, but it's never been enough to be, a fully dominant team at the top of the table. Yes, they're now potentially hitting their stride, but I just wonder, either it's tomorrow or even down the next couple games, will there be some type of lapse that they have, and that I guess Arsenal can exploit? So that's really what I want to see out of Manchester City, just from an objective view. My predictions for the game, though, this is going to be the most unsexy pick of all time. I have Arsenal and Manchester City getting a 1-1 draw. That's just how I see this happening. And my main reasons for this is I think Manchester City can score. Arsenal have been able to be defensively exploited at times. It hasn't been as strong as it was in the beginning of the season. So I think Manchester City will at least get one goal. And I think Arsenal will at least show up tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be ugly. This is what we have seen from Arsenal all year. It's not like they're going to just be like PSG or Bayern tomorrow. Like I just don't see that happening. But I do think Arsenal will play with a little bit of enough fire, a little bit of enough balls to actually show up and, actually not get embarrassed out there. And I think they will at least be able to scrap by one goal. And I think they'll be hopefully defensively sound enough to at least get a draw. I would love to see a win. You guys know how I feel about this, but I just see with everything we've seen out of this manager in the past, Mikel Arteta, when you don't need a win, I just don't know if he's going to play for it, especially if, again, Arsenal don't need to win this game. So I just see this being a draw. I think this is going to be an ugly defensive clash. It's going to be tight. It should still be a great spectacle, but this is just how I see the game going. Let me know your predictions down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Just in general, either your score predictions, thoughts. Does Arsenal have a chance? Is this just going to be, a blowout for Manchester City? Please let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys say. This is the biggest game we've had in years for this league. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. And I just want to see what the public is saying. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe. TikTok will be in the description down below. And if you made this far in the video, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.